Hi everyone, I'm Kay, the social media coordinator for My Age Mag, and I am sitting with the face behind, the voice behind the Salt podcast. So here we have Lachlan.
Hey guys, how you going?
So good. So basically just introduce us to you, who are you, what are you studying at Avondale, and yeah, so we get a background.
Cool. My name is Lachie. I'm from Perth in Western Australia. I moved straight to Avondale after high school to study ministry and theology. So I've been at Avondale now, this is my 4th year studying, and I am, just loving life at the moment. Trying to stay busy but not overcommit to things, which is always a fun balance, but that's just where we're at. So
yeah, feels. No, that's so good. Okay, so we'll dive right into the podcast, into the questions. So what is SALT?
SALT is primarily a program, a Friday night program at Avondale, run by the students for the students. Our vision is to create and prepare disciples ready to influence the world.
Yeah.
So if you listen to any of the podcasts, you probably catch that in the first 20 or 30 seconds. That's kind of the goal, that's why it exists.
Yeah.
And it's kind of become a little bit bigger than that this year. So as a community of students at Avondale, a few years back, we really just wanted to see the spiritual life on campus grow. And so a few of us just made the decision that's what we wanted to try and push, and we started making the steps towards that, and of course there was the resistance along the way that you always expect. But it's come to a point now where a lot of the students have taken ownership of SALT, have taken ownership not just of the program but of the vision, and are starting to live that out on a regular basis, which is really cool. So yeah, I kind of just want to stay here for longer to see how it keeps going, but at the same time I'm ready to be finished studying.
Yeah.
So
honestly, I feel that. So why did you start the initiative of the podcast? Where did it come from?
Yeah, so I mentioned the vision before, but for me personally, for a long time I've had a passion for digital ministry, doing ministry online and stuff, and I saw an opportunity for us to fulfill the vision in another way.
Yeah.
And try and hit that in a way that was really practical and really tangible. And it didn't mean you have to be at a certain place in a certain time, because there are a lot of people that were hearing about SALT, but I really quite want to kind of keep in touch with what's going on. I want to kind of take hold of this vision for my own life as well, but they weren't at college.
Yeah.
And so we created this as a platform for the students, I guess, to minister to those who are in our community, directly, and those who are in our community in a more national or maybe global scale. So it just came from a place of wanting to continue that vision and further it in a new way. And for me, I had the skill set to do that in a podcast, so I was praying a lot about it, and I felt God confirming that.
What do you want people and or students to gain from the podcast? What do you want them to receive?
Yeah, I'd love them to receive something tangible that they can take and apply to their life straight away.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the reason why we do church. That should be the reason why we do church. And it doesn't have to just be church that we do that in. We can get something practical and tangible to apply to our lives in our daily devotions, in listening to music, in whatever it is. And I want the podcast to be another medium through which people can come and listen to a discussion about a particular topic and think, okay, how can I take my walk with God to the next level in this space? So for instance, the podcast that's coming out this week is about prayer.
Yeah.
And so basically I share a discussion about prayer with Ray, who's our chaplain here at Avondale, and the goal that we kind of want to get to is to end with some really tangible suggestions of how people can take their prayer life to the next level, whether they are new to faith or they've been a Christian for a long time, but it's always been practical. That's
good point. That's how faith should be. It should be practical. You don't have to get faith.
Yeah. Sure.
That's awesome. You were talking about how you have the topic for this week and stuff. How do you pick your topics that you're about to learn? Who you're going to interview and stuff?
And there's some great leaders for SALT this year, and those guys kind of have cast a vision over the first few weeks of college. So we had a vision series, and they kind of plan the trajectory of the year regarding the topics and the things that we cover at SALT. And one thing I try to do is align the topics we talk about in the podcast. I try to align that with the program itself.
Yeah.
So for instance, when we're talking about our vision series, one of the topics we covered was influence. And so the corresponding podcast for that week was culture. And so that was all about how can we be intentional about our engagement in the world around us and utilise the influence that we have as disciples of Christ most effectively. And so I try and align the topics of the podcast with SALT each week so that people can get another perspective or another practical application from that week's topic. And so it's kind of like we're journeying as a college community rather than just, hey, you have Salt on Friday night, you have the podcast on Monday. Like we're trying to create more of a lifestyle thing, like Salt is a part of who you are, not just like an event you go to and then disengage from. So,
what has been the response to the podcast so far as it is a new?
We've had some really good feedback so far, not necessarily in the form of comments or likes or shares of the podcast, just in discussion between students, which for me is like an even bigger win. And it's not something that's tangible and you can hold on to and say this is evidence that we've done really well in this. But for me, to have the conversations on the podcast continue outside of the podcast is a win. Like for me to be talking to people about, hey, like how can I utilize my influence to share your bodies, or how can I take my craft to the next level? Like that's where like the rubber hits the road when it comes to being a disciple. Like it's all awesome talking about stuff, but if it ends there, then you haven't really achieved your goal. And so when it gets to the point where it's in people's heads, they're wrestling with it, they're thinking about it, they're trying to work out what it means for them, and they're trying to apply it to their lives, that's a win for me. And so like, I've had a few conversations like that, and our leaders have been sharing with me about conversations they've been having about the podcast. So it's really cool that people are not just talking to me about it, they're talking to each other about it. So I'm like, yes, even if you disagree, like any discussion is good discussion. But yeah, we've had a reasonable amount of success in terms of engagement with the podcast as well, which has been, I guess, encouraging for me as someone that's trying to do it and just stepping out in faith and saying, hey God, like I don't know what this is going to look like. Because the reality is, if one life is changed because of it, I've done my job. You know, I've been faithful to what God's called me to do, and He's done all the work in there. So
adding on to that question, onto that answer you just said, how can, if you're not on campus, like how can the wider audience get involved? Because like even like when I was listening to the culture one that you just had last week, I was like, oh, I want to put in my 2 cents. But like, how can we start the conversation outside of Avondale? Like, so
the 2 places that people can engage with is on our social media. So firstly is Instagram at Salt Avondale, and Facebook at Salt Avondale College, right? And so each week, like a graphic for the episode will be posted. And what I might start doing now is actually getting like a question at the end, and having and rather than just post the graphic and a little description, kind of create a space. You're giving me good ideas right now. It's good. And create a space for engagement there, because like I've been saying, share it, comment on it and stuff, but I haven't really been following that up with the post. So maybe that's something good we can do, is actually just ask a question at the end of the description of the post each week, and encourage people to comment and discuss and add to it. Because the reality is, like, there's only 2, maybe 3 heads getting butt together for each podcast. It's not like as many as you get on social media, right? So if you can get more people engaged in that and contributing to the conversation, I think it's going to be a lot more fruitful, a lot more productive.
Where would you like to see the podcast go in the future? Like, what's the end goal? Not the end all be all, but like...
For me, like, my goal is that by the second half of next semester, so by about, would that be like October this year, I won't be running the podcast anymore. So my goal is to have someone else, I guess a team of people, running what I guess I've started, but the goal is for it to be sustainable. Like, because I'm going to be graduating this year, touch wood. I don't want to fail. But like, I want the podcast to keep going. So I think it's a valuable ministry for people to really engage in practical discussion about how they can apply the lessons they're learning at Salt each week. And so for me, our win is firstly to see people inspired and see their lives transformed with Jesus Christ, and to see them growing in their capacity as disciples. That's a win for me. But in regards to the podcast, I'd love to see it growing to something that is bigger than just like the podcast on a Monday, like actually speaking to people's lives, and to have people gain ownership of it as well. Because at the moment it kind of is like, oh, it's Lockie's thing, like he's the one that kind of does it, and I guess like that's fair enough that people can see that, but I'd love for others to take ownership of it and be like, hey, how can I contribute or add value to this, and really just make it a collective effort. So.
My last thing, what advice would you give someone who wants to, let's say, start like a podcast or start the conversation going? What advice would you give?
Firstly, I would evaluate why you want to do it. Like, because I've wanted to do a podcast for ages, but I just knew that it's not what God had for me at that time. And I feel like if I had done it any other time, I would have burnt myself there. I would have said stuff I probably would have regretted online or something. Like, it wouldn't have gone the way that it should have gone. And so just waiting for God's timing in that. And I've realised now that all this time that I thought was dead time or like time that was wasted, God was actually preparing me and equipping me to do this part well, you know, and I could talk for ages about how that's happened, but like that's kind of the essence of it, is that God has been taking that time to prepare me. So work out why you're doing it. If it's just because you want to, you know, to make a name for yourself, it's probably not the right reason. If you feel like God has given you something to say, like God has given you a reason to do it, then yeah, for sure, pursue it. Surround yourself with people who are doing it. Like, I've got like 3 or 4 friends that run podcasts as well, and so I constantly touch base with them, like, hey, what are you guys doing? What's working for you? Like, can you just listen to this? Tell me what you think. Constantly try to like upskill yourself for the task. But then like, if it's a vision that is like from God, it's probably not just going to be for your benefit. It's going to be for the benefit of people around you. So surround yourself like directly with people that can help you in the podcast. So that's the phase I'm entering now, is trying to get people so I can like offload some of the tasks and like make it a more team project rather than just me. And yeah, make it a team effort, because life is better together, you know.
There you
like,
go. Good first.
So that's a catchphrase I just made up. No, I didn't make it up. It's pretty common. But yeah, like you just got to step out in faith as well. Like if you're 100% confident that that is what you should be doing, then you don't need any faith for it, right? And so I was probably like just over 50% confident, like just enough to be like, all right, I'm gonna give it a shot. But I was not 100% confident by any stretch of the imagination when I started, and I'm still kind of like, see how we go. Like I'm not confident, but I think that's a good space to be in, because there's a good tension between knowing what God's called you to do and still requiring faith to do it. Because that keeps you relying on God and focused on Him and sense on Him. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for keeping it with us. So this is one of the major initiatives that's happening at Avondale. So where can we follow you? I don't know you mentioned it before, but where can we find you? What's the SoundCloud? So if
you want to find the podcast on SoundCloud, search Salt Creative Podcast. That's the name of the podcast. If you can't find that, go to our social media, Salt Avondale on Instagram, Salt Avondale College on Facebook. Through either of those platforms, you can find the Salt Podcast, or you can go to my Instagram, _Lachlan Harders, because in my bio I have each week's episode in the link. That is a cheeky plug. I'm not going to hide it, but at the same time it will help you find the Salt Podcast. So it is answering the question, also a cheeky plug. Let's connect.
I love it. That's awesome. That's so sick. Yeah, this is our time at Avondale, and we'll see what else we have for you.
See you guys.
Bye guys.